Hey, MCE crew, I hope your day is progressing profitably. Hey, listen, I was accused of being misleading in the video that we did showing you how Peter Thiel took $2,000 within his Roth IRA and turned it into $5 billion. So I want to address that. I want to see if we can learn something from the comments that have been made on the video. But before we do that, I want to thank everybody who did comment. I want to thank everybody who watched that video so far. And I definitely want to thank the people who have taken the time to subscribe as well. You know what? A lot of the people who have subscribed are not even from the United States. I appreciate you all, and I'm so glad that you have taken the opportunity to, become a part of this community that we're building. Check this out. When I was young, if you wanted to get a message out nationally, there were only like 4 or 5 papers you could go to. And of course, the big TV networks, okay? Beyond that, and you had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. If you wanted to get an international message out, I don't even know who you would have talked to at the time, okay? But here we are on YouTube, and we're talking to nations. We're talking to people around the world. And I think that is so powerful, especially because we're becoming a global economy. Now, one more thing before we get into these comments and deal with the accusations of me being misleading on the Thiel video. I am an unabashed fan of capitalism. You know why? Because capitalism took me from a place in my life where I was growing up dirt poor in West Baltimore. And I've seen capitalism work in my life and the lives of people around me who came up with me, who are now doing extraordinary things because of capitalism is kind of the bridge to them being able to do that. The other thing about capitalism, it gives us an opportunity to create generational wealth and not just change our life, but the lives of others. I'm not mad at that. When people like these athletes or an artist or a business person, when they go out and create a product or service, dunk a basketball or give a concert, and they're paid for that, I applaud that because they are providing something that people want, and they should be compensated for their talents, for their ideas, okay, for what they bring to society. So I just want to level set and have people understand that. So without further ado,
well, allow me to retort.
Okay, the first comment that we get comes from Computron. Computron says, Thiel bought 1.7 million shares of PayPal at a fraction of a cent per share, totaling $1,700. That is grossly undervalued. Let me stop you right there. Grossly undervalued as compared to what? Now, from the information I have, and again, I'm willing to be wrong on this, but what I see, PayPal IPO'd at $34 and change. So if this is correct, and let's just take Computron at his word, his or her word, that PayPal was trading at a fraction of a cent per share. Well, if that is what was happening, then it means that the shares were certainly not on a big board. It couldn't have been trading at a fraction of a cent per share because the New York Stock Exchange has limits. Okay, the Nasdaq has limits. You can't go beyond zero and still trade on those boards. So this PayPal started out in 1998. So I would imagine this is when that occurred, very, very early in PayPal's history, when Thiel and a few others got together and they came up with this idea. And again, this is pre-smartphone. This is pre-Facebook, pre all of this stuff that we take for granted today. Yeah, PayPal looks like a great idea now, but when they founded the company and they came up with the original idea, that was a heck of a risk because who knows, whether it would have succeeded or not. We'd never done anything like that before. So they were taking a risk. Thiel put up capital and he won. He came in low and eventually sold high. I applaud that. That's what I want everybody here to do. He did exactly what we want to do. Nothing misleading about that. The deal wasn't available to the public. Nope, it sure wasn't. Because again, at that time, this was pre-IPO. So how do you deal with that? Well, There's nothing stopping any of us from coming up with an idea and putting it into practice. Or when PayPal did become available to the public, buying it at, if you believe in the company, buying it at an IPO price. Went from what, $34.69 in 2015, and that closed today at $293.65. Well, a lot of people made a lot of money in there. Bravo to all of them. I'm not mad at them. So Computron, no, the deal wasn't available to the public. Computron ends by saying your coverage of this situation is misleading. I don't see how, because Peter Thiel did turn $2,000 into $5 billion. It's not like I said some random cab driver took the tip that he received one night and turned it into $10 billion as clickbait. We didn't do that. So respectfully, Computron, those are the reasons why I disagree with the charge of me being misleading. And also, yeah, you're right that he did purchase those shares at that price, but grossly undervalued compared to what? Compared to what PayPal is trading at today? We don't know. I don't remember. I just started working. I never heard of PayPal until well after 2000. I had no idea whether the company was valued correctly at less than a fraction of a cent a share. Who knows? Going on, we've got Sandeep. Sandeep replies to Computron and says, Peter Thiel was the founder of PayPal. That is why he had access to buy the shares and the public didn't. He took the risk on founding PayPal and then took even more risk by starting his company with his Roth money. Things could have easily gone the other way and he could have lost his Roth money. Nothing wrong here, just opportunities for us. Amen, Sandeep. You know, Peter Thiel could have, things could have went the other way and he could be sleeping under a bridge right now. Okay? That's what business owners, kind of risk business owners take. So if they're going to lose big potentially, shouldn't they be rewarded when they provide something? Have you ever used PayPal, Computron? Have you? I'm sure you have a PayPal account. You're using that service. So Thiel can't be all that bad. But Computron does come back and he says, he or she, I don't know, says, what are the odds of Thiel not knowing that Sequoia Capital was going to invest in PayPal in 1999? The chance of that is zero. I don't know that. And I don't think you know that either, Computron, because we'd have to know Peter Thiel's mind, or he would have to confess something to us in the way of maybe insider trading. And even if he did, I don't think Peter Thiel's going to admit to it. But let's be clear, I'm certainly not accusing him of doing that. This means that he worked with information that was never going to be available to the public. Again, I'm not willing to stand on that charge. That's close to accusing him of insider trading. Yes, he did buy the stock at pre-IPO prices. He's not the first person to do that, and he certainly won't be the last. He was an insider. He founded the company. That's really not taking a risk. Oh, okay, well, we agree to disagree, and we do so agreeably. I do think that if you're putting up capital on an unknown quantity, that it is taking a risk, and that's just my belief. Okay, but thank you, Computron, for your contribution to the dialogue. I really appreciate it. Next, we have G&RE. G&RE says, Roth IRAs are not good investments. Misleading information. The 2K could have come from his sock drawer just the same. Well, G&RE, Roth IRAs are not investments. They're accounts. They're qualified accounts, which have some tax advantages and some restrictions as well. So think of it like this. A bank account, it's not an investment. Although it does provide a return, it does so by virtue of it has a benefit, the return, inherent in the account. Pretty much the same thing is true with the Roth IRA. So it's not an investment. The investment was when he purchased the stock within the account, and it was sheltered from future taxation, and that helped him out a little bit, to say the least. So I don't think I was being misleading in that at all. But I do thank you for pointing that out, for saying that, because I've heard a lot of people say of IRAs, both traditional and Roth, and 401ks, that they're investments, when in fact they are accounts. You cannot go to a broker and just purchase a Roth IRA. You can start a Roth IRA, but it's not something that's traded. The investments within it that's what you would trade. So thank you so much. As far as him having the $2,000 in his sock drawer, yep, he could have had it in his sock drawer. As long as he paid taxes on it, it was after-tax money. He then invested it within the Roth IRA. Fair game. He didn't do anything wrong. So it doesn't matter where it came from, as long as it was generated legally. Sock drawer, lemonade stand, Uber Eats, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go to 2 more comments and we'll wrap this up. TFSA is the equivalent in Canada. Not great because of the cap, but better than nothing for sure. Thanks for that, because I'm not at all familiar with some of the other accounts that they have in different countries. So if you guys know about those and you're outside the United States, chime in. Let us know. I find that very interesting. So thank you so much for that. And then the last comment we have on the subject comes from Eileen Roth. Please forgive me if I mispronounce that. This viewer says, I'm doing the same thing with my Roth IRA. I'm using it to squeeze the AMC stock. My gains will be tax-free. Well, more power to you. Now, I'm not myself into short squeezes or derivatives or anything like that. I'm not a day trader. I am going to say that there is more than one way to skin a cat. So if you have an expertise in doing these things like this viewer just talked about, then hey, I applaud you. You definitely are beyond me, because I am a long-term investor. I buy low and I sell high. But this is, money changes everything. And we acknowledge that there are many ways to go out and make money. So I thank you for listening, for watching. Again, we're going to continue to talk about these subjects. And if you have any more comments, you disagree with me, please, let's talk about it. Let's dialogue about it, because we can all learn something. I thank the people that commented. And guys, I will talk to you soon.